No, it depends on certain areas too, Gary. I want to before I get to all the road closures, I want to show you some of the conditions that are around town. This is over at Colfax in Yosemite in East Denver. The RTD buses, the drivers haven't been able to get into work, so there's a lot of buses and trains not running just because they don't have the operators to actually do any of the operating of those machinery. The Tower Road over at 56th Avenue. This is over by DIA. Sloppy and wet conditions for us there. Same thing at Hamden and Sheridan. But I want to take you up to Boulder. Take a look at the camera there at Foothills and Arapahoe, where you can actually see some pavement, much like you did from Sloan up there in Fort Collins. And so it is starting to get a little better in some areas. So not every place is totally covered out in snow. Let me take you to the map where you have a couple of significant road closures still in place, including I-70 and I-76. I-70 both directions all the way to Kansas. I-76 basically all the way up to Sterling, and I-25 up to the north, as Sloan said, is closed, including 287 rather, all the way up into Laramie. The south side, I-25 southbound is closed. Lone Tree to Monument. The northbound side still closed from Monument to Castle Rock. That's basically in the GAP project, the construction project down there. And then there's no good alternate because 105 and 83 are also closed. And then we have a lot of closures up in the high country as well, on and off. So there will be some on and off closures throughout the night. We'll see how that plays out. I'll be here back at 10 o'clock to give you those updates.
Jason, thank you. Now is the perfect time to bring in Tamara Rollison now with CDOT.
Tamara, a lot of roads closed right now. We just saw from Jason. What's the focus right now for CDOT?
The focus is to continue to make passes on these major roadways, our interstates and our highly traveled routes. As some of the shots that you saw that Jason just showed you, a lot of our secondary roads are still in pretty bad condition right now because our crews have been focused on the main routes. And then once the snow tapers off a little bit and they can focus more of their efforts on those other roads. So we are still urging people to avoid driving on the roads as much as they can. If you do go out there, chances of getting stuck and stranded are pretty high.
You mentioned some of those side roads CDOT's responsible for, some of the major streets. When can we really start to see that, get the bulk of the plowing? Obviously, the highways are the majority of the problem right now, but when can we start to see some of these smaller roads?
Maybe around 11 o'clock tonight, midnight, early this morning, once crews can catch up with some of the snow conditions on our major roadways, they may be able to get to what we refer to as secondary roads, such as Colfax and Federal and University Boulevard and Wadsworth. They'll be able to make some passes on those roads, but it's still going to be very treacherous and it's still going to be very slow going for tomorrow morning's commute. So we absolutely urge folks, if they can telework tomorrow, that would be the day to do it, or at least delay their commute until later in the morning.
And you've talked about the commute, but we also talked to you earlier about ski traffic. People who are up in the mountains, they were skiing, they may be kind of waiting for a little bit, waiting to see if they could come back tonight. You have some advice for them?
They should stay put if they can, stay another night. We do have some people who are headed back into Denver, and we've had some closures. As you know, we've got closures on I-70. We do have some stuck vehicles out there. And really the only thing that we can say at this point is to be patient. We're going to try to get those roads open as soon as we can. And that's why we warned folks to avoid driving during this storm, and for them to have plenty of supplies and an emergency kit with them should they be stuck or stranded.
Absolutely. Don't let that stuck guy be you. Thanks so much, Tamara. And thanks to the CDOT crews who made it possible for us to get here today. You guys are doing good work.